Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm back. My name is Ekta Agrawal. I'm a senior mentor at Prepp IAS. Okay, so we'll start now in a minute. Okay, I hope आप सबकी studies अच्छी चल रही हैं. Preparation on track, right? Prelims बहुत नजदीक आ रहा है. Yes, so how are the studies going? Good afternoon, Yogita. Okay, so before others also join, right? So this is going to be the last session of the reading comprehension series today, right? So today's agenda, as I said yesterday, is going to be दो और keywords बचे हुए हैं. Where the first is the tone of the passage, right? And the second is the corollary. So what do we understand by these two keywords? ठीक है? And इनके हम examples देखेंगे. Although इसके example बहुत कम है recent years में. दो तीन एग्जाम्पल्स हैं, वील सॉल्व दोस क्वेश्चंस. ओके, एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट हम assumptions के थोड़े क्वेश्चंस और सॉल्व करेंगे. एंड देन आई विल बी गिविंग यू ऑल अ टाइम ऑफ अ वीक, ठीक है, जिसमें आपको जो भी लर्निंग्स हमने इस पास्ट 6 सेशंस में की है वो आपको रिवाइज करनी है, अंडरस्टैंड करनी है. एंड 2023 से लेके 2015 तक के क्वेश्चंस आपको सॉल्व करने हैं अज्ञान. एंड देन 2024 का पेपर आई विल बी हेल्प यू टू solve in the next session. Next session कब होगा? Approximately 1 week के बाद. So I'll be telling you the date in advance, like 2 to 3 days before. तब तक आपको पूरी चीजें रिवाइज करके पेपर सॉल्व करने, एंड जो भी आपके डाउट्स होंगे फिर हम एक सेशन में ले लेंगे. ओके, लेट्स स्टार्ट नाउ. Okay, so starting with the aspect of tone of the passage. ठीक है, तो टोन से रिलेटेड एक क्वेश्चन 2022 में पूछा गया था. लेट्स सी दैट क्वेश्चन फर्स्ट. ठीक है, बट बिफोर दैट, टोन ऑफ द पैसेज का क्या मतलब होता है? टोन, राइट? टोन इंडिकेट्स कि ऑथर का इंटेंट क्या है, राइट? एक होता है ना टोन, हम बोलते हैं कि पॉजिटिव टोन है, न्यूट्रल टोन है, या नेगेटिव टोन है, या आर्गुमेंटेटिव सी टोन है, राइट? समटाइम्स आई एम asserting something more, आई एम emphasizing the importance of something a lot, so I'm having an assertive tone कि सीसैट करना पड़ेगा, सीसैट is really important. Okay, it has to be qualified for qualifying the prelims examination. This is an assertive tone. ठीक है, पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव न्यूट्रल नहीं है. आई एम एम्फसाइजिंग इट वेरी मच, सो इट इज एन असर्टिव टोन. ओके, मैं कुछ कन्विंस कर रही हूँ आपको, देन ऑल्सो इट्स ए असर्टिव टोन, राइट? मैं आर्ग्यूमेंट्स पुट अप कर रही हूँ, असर्टिव टोन. ओके, द अदर टोन इज अ न्यूट्रल टोन, जहाँ पर जो ऑथर होते हैं, राइट, यस, द वे समथिंग इज कम्युनिकेटेड. वेरी वेल सेड अजहर, राइट? अब इसमें, as you said, the way something is communicated, right? It can be sometimes in a positive note. Okay, sometimes I'm only highlighting the positive aspects of something. So that can be said कि मेरा एक tilted note है towards the positive aspect of it. ठीक है, बट अगर मैं सिर्फ किसी चीज के नेगेटिव एस्पेक्ट्स को हाईलाइट कर रही हूँ, सो आई एम हैविंग समथिंग इन नेगेटिव टोन. ओके, कभी कभी मेरा टोन बैलेंस हो सकता है. ऑथर ने जो पैसेज में लिखा है वो बहुत बैलेंस्ड हो सकता है. सो दैट इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ अ न्यूट्रल टोन. इसका एक क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करते हैं, देन यू विल गेट एन आइडिया. सो in the 2022 paper, question number 51 was asked from the topic of tone, the keyword tone basically. Let's go through that question. Okay, as you can see, it is the underlying tone of the passage. Okay, so read the passage and then try to solve it. Then we'll understand the tone. फर्स्ट, सबसे पहले ऑप्शंस क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व करने के लिए सबसे पहला स्टेप क्या होगा? प्लीज रिमेंबर, ऑलवेज रिमेंबर, फर्स्ट स्टेप क्या है? फर्स्ट स्टेप है एलिमिनेशन करना। ठीक है, I've got some answers, right? सबसे पहला स्टेप क्या है? एलिमिनेशन करना। कौन सी चीजों को एलिमिनेट करना? द स्टेटमेंट्स व्हिच आर सीमिंग टू बी टू एक्सट्रीम, राइट? या फिर जो डिस्टॉर्शन ट्रैप की तरफ पॉइंट कर रहे हैं। ऑलवेज, कभी भी किसी भी टाइप का कीवर्ड है, कोई भी आरसी का पैसेज है, आपका पहला स्टेप होगा एक्सट्रीम स्टेटमेंट्स को एलिमिनेट करना, अगर पैसेज में ऐसी कोई बात नहीं हो रही है तो। एंड सेकेंडली, डिस्टॉर्शन ट्रैप्स या आउट ऑफ स्कोप इंफॉर्मेशन को रिमूव करना। आफ्टर दैट जो भी स्टेटमेंट्स बचेंगे वो आप कीवर्ड के बेसिस पे सॉल्व करेंगे, राइट? So here, let's see. Let's go to the statement number B. मेरा ध्यान यहाँ पर all पे जा रहा है. All economic development should be aimed at the creation of leisure. Really? All economic development should be aimed at the creation of leisure? अगर ऐसा होता तो ऑथर ने कैटेगराइजेशन करने की बात क्यों की है? कि कुछ एक्टिविटीज, राइट, सम पीपल और द सम एक्टिविटीज जहाँ इंटेलिजेंस एक्टिविटीज आर इन्वॉल्व और द इंटेलिजेंट इंटरेस्ट आर इन्वॉल्व, there having benefit of leisure is good, but the other activities it might not be a good idea. So all economic development should be aimed at the creation of leisure. This is definitely not the tone of the passage. Author is not telling about this, rather than author is telling something about else. In an economic organization, see the tone, not all economic development. He's taking an example and he's saying that किसी भी economic organization में अगर हम कुछ एक्टिविटीज को रिप्लेस कर रहे हैं या मे बी सिंपल कर रहे हैं विद द हेल्प ऑफ मशीन्स, सो हाउ इट इज गोइंग टू हेल्प द पीपल देयर एंड विच काइंड ऑफ पीपल वुड बी एबल टू अप्रिशिएट दैट काइंड ऑफ एक्स्ट्रा टाइम हो सकता है या जो एफर्ट कम हो रहा है उस चीज को, राइट? तो वी कैन इग्नोर द स्टेटमेंट नंबर बी. लेट्स गो टू स्टेटमेंट नंबर सी or the statement number D. Statement number D says that use of machines should be encouraged. Okay, use of machines should be encouraged in order to create a large leisure population. Can anybody tell me कि what is wrong with the statement? This is not the answer, I'll tell you. ठीक है, ऑप्शन डी में क्या गलत है? Anyone?
Ma'am, it's specifically talking about the large leisured population, whereas it is not mentioned like this in the passage.
Okay, yes, keenly observed. Use of machines should be encouraged in order to create a large leisure population. As Azhar said, here in the passage, it is not something about a large leisure population. Rather, the author is talking something about else, right? He is saying that कि अगर in an economic organization, if you're able to create some extra leisure, who is going to appreciate that and किन लोगों के लिए यूजफुल प्रूफ हो सकता है और किसके लिए नहीं यूजफुल प्रूफ होगा? लाइक इफ अ लेजर पॉपुलेशन इज टू बी हैप्पी, इट मस्ट बी एन एजुकेटेड पॉपुलेशन and must be educated with a view to enjoyment as well as the direct usefulness of technical knowledge. Okay, so nowhere is he suggesting that use of machines should be encouraged. The purpose is not to create a leisure population. ये objective ही नहीं है. Rather the objective is कि जो leisure generate हो रहा है वो किसके लिए useful है और अगर वो appreciate करना है तो उसके लिए population को educate करना होगा. That's what the author is saying, right? So again, D can be eliminated based on this logic. Let's come to option C. An increase in the educated population of a country leads to an increase in the happiness of its people. क्या ये डायरेक्टली रिलेटेड है? क्या इस पैसेज से हम बोल सकते हैं कि अगर एजुकेटेड पॉपुलेशन ऑफ अ कंट्री, व्हाट इज मिसिंग इन दिस स्टेटमेंट? एनीबॉडी? एक एस्पेक्ट इस स्टेटमेंट में मिसिंग है. In this statement, they are saying that educated population तो ठीक है of a country अगर increase होती है तो it leads to
टेक्निकल
increase.
नॉलेज की बात नहीं है इस स्टेटमेंट में.
Yes, true. Very well said. The answer is A. Only uneducated. Now see, अगर आपने only uneducated only के basis पे remove किया है तो just see it again. Only an educated population can make best use of the benefits of economic progress. Now, see, मैंने आपको starting में tone बताई थी, assertive tone, right? Assertive. The author is very assertive over here. He is saying that only people or only the population who is educated enough, right, who knows, who is involved in more intelligent activities and interest, they would be more appreciating the benefits or the leisure created from the use of technical knowledge, right, or the machines. He is in a very assertive mode, assertive tone. That's why the answer is A. In the tone questions, okay, assertive tone की statements, now it might seem like very extreme, only and best, but this is the correct answer based on the assertive tone of the passage, right? So in the tone questions, we vary of these options, okay? अगर tone बहुत assertive है, तो it can be an option, right? This can be some of the tricky questions, but the good part is कि बहुत rarely इन्होंने एक या दो questions ही पूछे हैं इस keyword के basis पे. For instance, एक 2021 में they have asked a question, which is question number 44. We'll see it again. There you will have some more idea about it. Question number 44. Okay, question number 44 is about the second keyword, which is called the corollary. Now, इसका क्या मतलब होता है? इन दोनों keywords के basis पे एक एक question ही पूछा है इन्होंने 2022 में and 2021 में. Right, 2023 में there was no question related to these two keywords. ठीक है, तो ज़्यादा emphasis की नीड नहीं है. Assumption and crux and the crucial message are more important. But हमें पता होना चाहिए because let's say if a question comes, so you should be able to answer it, right? So corollary का मतलब होता है एक logical consequence, ठीक है? A logical thing which can be directly extended with the passage. Okay, main argument में जो passage में बात हो रही है या जो main premise की बात हो रही है, उसका एक logical extension जो होता है, that is corollary. It is not inference, ठीक है? It is not conclusion. It is nothing related to crux or the crucial message. It is something, a logical consequence that flows from the passage. Okay, logically flow होता है like an extension. Okay, just read the passage and then we'll see how it works. These are the options. Okay, we have got one answer. Good speed, Sandeep. Okay, use the elimination method over here. Okay, Priyanka, the previous classes, they have been uploaded on the UPSC Mentorship by Prepp YouTube channel. Okay, in the Telegram channel also, you will find the links. Okay, great. Yes, the answer is A. The central bank, they cannot work independently of the government. Here it is written that any one wing of such macro policy, be it monetary policy or the fiscal one, they cannot independently work without active support of another, right? That's what they're logically extending this and saying that the central bank, they cannot work independently of the government, the fiscal policy and the monetary policy, right? Now, बाकी statements पे भी हम देख लेते हैं. Government, see, some people have given the answer as C also, right? So let's see it. See देख लेते हैं हम एक बार. Market economy is not compatible with the socialist policies of the government. Okay. Is anything about this, anything related to this has been mentioned in the passage? Socialist policies of the government, market economy की compatibility. Have they talked about the nature of the economy over here? No. This something like this has not been talked about in the passage. We can ignore this option. Okay. Option number D. Financial sector reforms are required for enhancing the economic welfare. Completely out of the scope. Nothing like this has been mentioned. They're talking about two kinds of macro policy, that is monetary and fiscal policy. But even if अगर आप last statement को देखो तो it's only covering just partial truth का जो हमने एक option पढ़ा था, financial sector की बात हो रही है. Financial sector reforms, right? It doesn't include about the role of the government, etc. Government should regulate the financial markets and institutions closely. This might be correct, but based on this passage, do we have anything related to this in the passage? No. So the first option, it closely follows from the passage because it's saying that any one wing would not be able to work independently without the other. That's why the central bank, they cannot work independently of the government. Okay, I hope you got an idea. Now with this, we complete all the keywords of the passage reading comprehension. Okay, because now what we'll do is we'll solve the 2022 paper assumption based question. I think yesterday we did the 2023 paper. Today we'll do 2022. जितने भी assumption के questions हैं हम cover कर लेते हैं आज. Okay, so the first question that you have to solve is, now you've got the idea कि assumption क्या है, ठीक है, assumption की approach क्या रहेगी. Question number 21. This is the passage. It's quite a big passage, so you can take 2 to 3 minutes. Keep in mind the keywords. Okay. Yes.
मैम ऑप्शन सही नहीं दिख रहे हैं.
Okay, just a minute. Now it's visible.
यस मैम.
Okay, I think we have given enough time now. Okay, okay. So I have people pointing for the two options, option C and option D. Right. Let's see कि क्या आंसर है. ठीक है. Okay. So पहले स्टेटमेंट में जाते हैं. पैसेज हमने रीड कर लिया, right? The passage is about the changing temperatures, changing conditions, productivity plateau हो रही है. So what's going to be the role of technology in this, right? And they have given references to three kinds of countries. You can say developed countries, developing countries, and some places in Africa, right? Especially to the smallholders and subsistence farmers of Africa. We're talking about the technology जहाँ एक जगह develop हो रही है, दूसरी जगह वो adopt हो रही है और adapt हो रही है कि नहीं. ठीक है, adopt हो रही है plus adapt हो रही है कि नहीं. Now based on this, यहाँ पर कुछ assumptions दिए हुए हैं. Based on the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. First, development of agricultural technology is confined to developed countries. Now let's go to the mind of the author. ठीक है, अगर development of agricultural technology is confined to developed countries, this option is wrong. Why? Because अगर ये option सही होता, can you please mute yourself? Whoever is having the mic on. Okay, so why is this option incorrect? Because अगर author के back of the mind पे ये assumption है कि agricultural technology confined है developed countries के लिए, then why is he talking about adaptation of the technology, right? He's saying that technology is of little use if it is not adapted. It means it is actually being adopted. It is not confined. That's why he's saying that it should be adapted. Otherwise, it would be of little use. First reason. The second reason यहाँ पर दिया ही हुआ है that techniques developed in the West, they are being adapted in some places to make tropical crops more productive. Okay, so based on this two information, you can ignore the statement. Right, come to the next statement. Agricultural technology is not adopted in developing countries. Again, if this has been the assumption of the author, he would not say that it's of little use if it is not adapted to the developing world. It is actually being adopted by developing countries, right? That's why he's saying that कि अगर adopt कर रहे हैं, I'm using two keywords, adoption and adoption, right? अगर डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज उन टेक्नोलॉजीज को यूज करने के बारे में सोच रहे हैं तो वो उनके लिए यूजफुल तभी होगी इफ इट इज अडेप्टेड टू देयर नीड्स, राइट? अदरवाइज इट वुड बी ऑफ लिटिल यूज if it is not adapted to the needs of developing world. Okay, in the developing world that applies to much. यहाँ पर दूसरी information लिखी हुई है that in the developing world that applies as much to existing farming techniques as it does to the latest advances in genetic modification. Extension की बात कर रहे हैं वो to the smallholders, farmers of Africa and Asia, right? In such simple matters, example, they have given some statements, right? So yes, he is talking about its adoption in developing countries. So this statement again is wrong. अगर ये assumption होता author का, तो author इन सब चीजों के benefits के बारे में नहीं बता रहे होते, right? The answer is D, neither one nor two. Okay. Well, it was a great try, right? Okay. Yes. Now we will solve question number. Another question is there related to this. Question number 22. Again, here also it's asking that based on the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. Try to solve this question. Okay, we've got some answers. Right. Okay. Yes, the answer is A. Well done, everyone. Okay. So based on the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. Let's see it. Okay, let's go to the second statement. Q second statement हमने ignore किए. Developed countries, they have better infrastructure and they waste less food. क्या गलत है statement में? योग्यता?
वेस्ट लेस फूड का मेंशन नहीं है इसमें.
Okay. True, it's not being mentioned in the passage. And they have better infrastructure. Poor countries, they need to bring about change in their existing farming techniques. Right? ये तो author बोल रहे हैं, this is one of the assumptions, right? That's why he's talking about the adoption of these technology or technological advances to the developing world. And यहाँ पर उन्होंने benefits के बारे में भी बताया है कि अगर ये छोटी सी चीजें या fertilizers कैसे apply करना है, कितना apply करना है, if that can be said, it would greatly increase the availability of food for the humanity, right? Similarly, better roads and storage facilities वगैरह के बारे में उन्होंने बात की है. So poor countries, they need to bring about the change in their existing farming techniques. This can be said. Question number 23, again, it's an assumption. See, एक passage में आपके 3 questions थे, right? So even if it's a big passage, don't ignore it. अगर ऐसे passage के बाद 3-4 questions दिए हुए हैं, easily समझ में आ रहा है passage, तो attempt करने का try करना चाहिए, right? Question number 23 देखिए. It's an easy question. Yes, I've got the answers. Okay. Well done, Babita. Well done, Yogita. Yes, the answer is A. Second statement में easily आप इसको ignore कर सकते हैं. Corporate farming अगर author का assumption होता, तो he would have talked about it in the passage. उन्होंने कोई भी discussion नहीं किया है related to corporate farming in the passage, right? He has not suggested anything about it. Rather, he has suggested that कि जो भी technological advances developed countries में हो रहे हैं, right? That can be given or that can be extended towards the other countries. So this can be ignored. Now, growing enough food is going to be a challenge. Yes, the author के back of the mind पे चल रहा है, because that's why he's talking about these things. Food security, right? It will lead to greatly increased availability of food for humanity. And in the starting, what he said that कि yields जो है वो plateau हो गई है, productivity plateau हो गई है, yields enough raise नहीं हो रही है, unfarmed land जो है that is not suitable to be brought under the plow. अगर global temperature unsuitability की बात की है तो yes, the author is assuming that growing enough food for future generations will be a challenge, right? हम सोच सकते हैं कि author ने assume किया होगा तभी ये statements यहाँ पर बोल रहे हैं, right? Now, sir, you had one question yesterday कि negation क्या होता है, right? तो अगर हम इस statement को negate कर दें कि growing enough food, if I say that negate करके मैं बोल रही हूँ growing enough food for future generations will not be a challenge. Okay, मैंने negate कर दिया. अब मेरा main statement या जो main argument है इस passage का ये भी weaken हो जाएगा because जब मैंने ये बोल दिया है कि फ्यूचर में फूड अवेलेबिलिटी इंश्योर करना चैलेंज ही नहीं है, तो जो भी बातें ऑथर ने यहाँ पर की है प्रोडक्टिविटी के बारे में या फिर यील्ड्स के बारे में या अनअवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ लैंड के बारे में, ये सारी गलत प्रूव हो गई, राइट? सो दे आर इंटर रिलेटेड विद ईच अदर. इसको मैंने नेगेट किया तो मेरा आर्ग्यूमेंट वीकन हो गया. दैट इज व्हाई दिस इज द पैसेज. इट इज जस्ट अनदर वे ऑफ सेइंग कि दोनों पॉजिटिवली कोरिलेटेड है या फिर दोनों अगर मैं एक को नेगेट करूंगी तो दूसरा स्टेटमेंट भी नेगेटिव हो रहा है. Okay, I hope you got an answer. Right. We'll go to question number 33. Okay, this is question number 33 and the passage for this question is again quite big. But you should solve this question because यहाँ पर 3 questions हैं इस passage में. Okay. This one, natural selection. Please read the passage.
मैम पैसेज पूरा रीड नहीं कर पाए अभी।
अभी विजिबल है?
नो मैम। जस्ट नाउ विजिबल।
ओके, ठीक है। टेक 1 more minute. It's a big passage and थोड़ा confusing भी है ये, right? Okay, and I've got some answers. ठीक है, C, okay, ठीक है. Shall I go to the question? It's question number 33. Please now remember. This is the question. We're talking about assumptions. We can solve the other two questions as well, but पहले हम 33 देखिए. 33 is the question, which of the assumptions is valid? See, ये tricky हो सकता है ये passage, ठीक है? अगर आपको लग रहा है कि आपको ये, क्योंकि इसमें 3 questions थे, ठीक है? Passage बहुत बड़ा भी था. अगर किसी को नहीं समझ में आ रहा था वो passage, तो it's better to skip the question, ठीक है? Okay. Which of the above assumptions is valid? Now, first statement says that only species. Okay, shall we start solving the question? Okay, but most of the answers are C. Some have come with the option as A. Right. Only species that have the ability to overcome environmental catastrophes will survive and perpetuate. ठीक है. Let's not go with the judgment. ठीक है, अभी हम just read कर रहे हैं statement को. इस पैसेज के लिए आई वुड सजेस्ट, बिकॉज ये थोड़ा ट्रिकी पैसेज है, ठीक है, बहुत सारी इंफॉर्मेशन दी हुई है, यू कैन गो टू द पैसेज, राइट, फॉर checking the statements. Now, more than 90% of the species on the earth are in the danger of getting extinct due to drastic changes in the environment. ये एक factual information है, let's go to this. यहाँ पर ये बोल रहा है कि more than 90% danger में है extinction के due to drastic changes in the environment. Now, what is given in the passage there? Yet more than 90% of species that have ever lived on the earth are now extinct. They are saying that they're now extinct. They're not saying that they are in the danger of extinction. Second statement automatically galat ho gayi. This can be ignored. This can be ignored. You are left with two options, either A or option C. ठीक है?
मैम ऑप्शन थर्ड इसलिए नहीं हो सकता क्योंकि उसमें इनडायरेक्टली वो डार्विन की थियरी की वो क्रिटिसिज्म ही कर रहा है कि उसकी और सारी उसमें सही नहीं हो रही है, जितने भी उसने दे रखे हैं वो सारे हर जगह सेट सूटेबल नहीं है।
यस, और अगर मैं बात करूं योगिता की इसमें ऑथर की टोन कैसी है, तो आप क्या बोलेंगी? Because you're able to understand the passage, that's why I'm asking you this question. Is it something biased towards any side of him or something neutral or थोड़ा सा sarcastic?
मैम सरकास्टिक टोन है इसकी।
Good. Yes, Darwin's theory explains all the natural phenomena. No, this is contradictory to what the author is talking about, right? He's saying बहुत जगह caveats उन्होंने use किए हैं अपनी पूरे passage में, right? Jesse, for instance, therefore, the so-called Darwinian theory of evolution. Let's read from here. The Darwinian explanation for extinct life is once again simple. Understand the tone. Elegant, at once convincing. At once convincing. Organisms go extinct as a function of environmental or biological assaults for which their inheritance deems them ill-equipped. Okay, it's a function of environmental and biological results. Therefore, the so-called Darwinian theory of evolution is not a theory at all. Evolution actually happens. This is a fact, right? It is not something new that the theory is proposing, rather that's a fact. It's not a new idea. So Darwin's theory explains all the natural phenomena. No, this is not correct as per the passage, right? Also read this statement. If religion is not taken into consideration, here, if religion is not taken into consideration, Darwinian laws are acceptable just like the laws proposed by Copernicus, Galileo, Newton, Einstein, sets of natural laws that explain natural phenomena in the universe, right? So it is not something, a theory, it's a natural law, okay? Natural law means, yes, it was always there. It's a simple common understanding. That's what he's saying. So the answer for this is option number A. Only species that have the ability to overcome environmental catastrophes will survive and perpetuate. Author ने assume किया. Now let's go to the statement जिससे ये strengthen हो जाएगी. Here, this failure to survive in modern terms can be attributed to the genomes which are unable to withstand geological vagaries or biological mishaps, infections, etc. In biological evolution on the earth, extension of species has been a major feature, right? So this failure to survival can be attributed to the genomes. Okay, let's come to the statement. So only species that have the ability to overcome environmental catastrophes will survive and perpetuate. This is the assumption, and based on this assumption, based on this thought behind his mind, the author is saying that cannot overcome environmental adversity. An outcome of this is the extension of those species which cannot overcome the environmental adversity. Just इसी को reverse करके assumption बनाया हुआ है. Okay. This was a pretty difficult passage. From the tone of the passage, it was quite tough. Okay. This is question number 33. We'll go to the last question of this paper, 2022, which was based on the topic of assumption. Question number 71. Okay. This is the passage. Question number 71. The author's assumption about scientific research is that why I'm underlining this keywords is because generally हम इनको extreme समझ के अपने statements को ignore कर देते हैं, right? So for that reason, इनको आप यहाँ पर underline कर सकते हैं, ठीक है? To have an idea that the author is having a very assertive tone over here. Yes, people have developed good speed. Okay, we have all kinds of options A, C, B over here. ठीक है, let's see कि कौन सा सही है. Okay, एक एक ऑप्शन एलिमिनेट करते हैं, ठीक है? Okay. Okay, yes, I'll tell which option is correct. यहाँ पर वर्ड्स के साथ प्ले किया गया है इन द ऑप्शंस, राइट? ओके, फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट ऑप्शन ए, इट इज नेवर वेरी वैल्यूएबल. व्हाट डू यू थिंक? इज इट कंट्राडिक्टिंग द पैसेज? ऑथर ने क्या बोला है? Scientific research is probably never completely valueless. Never completely valueless. Okay, यहाँ पर क्या बोल रहे हैं? It is never very valuable. Rather, author बोल रहे हैं never completely valueless. Never completely valueless. यहाँ पर बोल रहे हैं
मैम ये
never very
एक्सट्रीम
valuable.
स्टेटमेंट है क्योंकि इसमें बहुत सारे इसके बेनिफिट्स भी बताए हैं रिसर्च के।
ओके, यस, एक्सट्रीम तो ठीक है, प्लस ये गलत भी है, क्योंकि यहाँ पर ये बोल रहे हैं कि ऑथर का assumption यहाँ पर बोल रहा है कि कभी भी इतना वैल्यूएबल नहीं होता है, ठीक है? बट यहाँ पर ऑथर क्या बोल रहे हैं? दैट साइंटिफिक रिसर्च इज प्रोबेबली नेवर कंप्लीटली वैल्यूलेस. वैल्यू की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, यहाँ बोल रहे हैं कि कभी भी इतना वैल्यूएबल नहीं होता है और कभी भी ऐसा नहीं होगा कि उसकी कोई वैल्यू ना हो. पैसेज में वो ऐसे बोल रहे हैं, राइट? सो दिस इज नॉट द अजम्पशन. दोनों, मैंने इसलिए आपको बोला इसमें सिर्फ वर्ड से प्ले किया गया है इसके
यस
ऑप्शंस में.
मैम, इसमें ऑप्शन सी राइट होगा।
यस, ऑप्शन सी इज एक्चुअली द करेक्ट आंसर. यहाँ पर यही बोल रहे हैं कि कभी भी ऐसा नहीं होगा, प्रोबेबली नेवर, कभी भी ऐसा नहीं होगा कि बिल्कुल वैल्यूलेस हो. तो बिल्कुल वैल्यूलेस, राइट? कंप्लीटली, दैट्स व्हाई यहाँ पर सम लिखा हुआ है. इट इज नेवर विदाउट सम वैल्यू. इट इज नेवर विदाउट सम वैल्यू इज द एग्जैक्ट वे ऑफ सेइंग दिस स्टेटमेंट. ओके, मतलब हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ वैल्यू रहेगी, उसमें यही बोल रहा है. स्टेटमेंट में भी यही बोल रहा है, पैसेज में भी यही बोल रहा है. ये नहीं बोल सकते हम कि इट्स ऑलवेज वेरी वैल्यूएबल, राइट? बिकॉज यहाँ पर क्या लिखा हुआ है? द साइंटिफिक रिसर्च इज प्रोबेबली नेवर कंप्लीटली वैल्यूलेस. कंप्लीटली, ऑलवेज, कंट्रोडिक्टरी. ही इज नॉट कंप्लीटली सेइंग, क्योंकि उन्होंने एक पैसेज के सेकंड पार्ट में एक और भी बात कही गई है कि अगर वो रिसर्च ओरिजिनल नहीं है, बट इट कंसिस्ट ओनली इन द फॉर्म ऑफ रीअरेंजमेंट ऑफ एग्जिस्टिंग मटेरियल्स, तो उसका बेनिफिट उतना नहीं होगा जो कि ओरिजिनल रिसर्च का होता है, राइट? दैट इज व्हाई वी कैन से दैट इट्स ऑलवेज वेरी वैल्यूएबल. ये भी गलत है, बिकॉज इन्होंने साइंटिफिक रिसर्च को दो पार्ट में बात की है. इट कैन बी ओरिजिनल एंड इट कैन बी समथिंग विच इज नॉट ओरिजिनल, वेयर द फोकस इज ऑन जस्ट रीअरेंजमेंट ऑफ थिंग्स, राइट? हम इंटेलेक्चुअल पेटेंट्स वगैरह में पढ़ते हैं समथिंग लाइक दैट, एंड इट्स समटाइम्स वेरी वैल्यूएबल. ऐसा कोई जनरलाइजेशन या ऐसा कोई इंडिकेशन उन्होंने यहाँ पर नहीं दिया है कि समटाइम्स ही बहुत वैल्यूएबल होती है. रादर ही इज सेइंग दैट it is, or the author is saying that it's never without some value, because it's never completely valueless. हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ वैल्यू होती है. The option C is the correct answer. The passage was tough not because of the passage but because of the options they have given. वहां इतना प्रेशर होता है in the exam environment, right? So all the statements, they seem to be very similar, right? Okay, I hope you got it. So we are done with 2023 paper. 2022 का पेपर is also done. ठीक है, 2021 के कुछ तीन चार क्वेश्चंस हम सॉल्व कर लेते हैं assumption के. Then rest is your assignment. So I have completed all the keywords from the reading comprehension theme. Okay, now your task is हम 2021 के कुछ क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर लेते हैं. Okay, and then you have to complete till 2015. 2023 भी आप दोबारा रिवाइज करेंगे and 15 तक आप एक वीक में पूरी कंप्लीट करेंगे. Then we will solve the 2024 paper in the next week. I'll be telling the date 3 days advance में, right? So not an issue there. Right, let's solve 3 to 4 more questions over here. Question number 2. Okay, this is the passage. You can tell me, I'll scroll down for the options.
मैम ऑप्शंस नहीं दिख रहे हैं।
Okay, 1 minute. These are the options. Oh, well done. Good. Okay. Okay, let's go to the statements. Okay, those who have given the answers, I've noted it, right? Some have given the right answer. Okay, let's see. Let's go to statement number first. Sustainable production of India's cereal food grains is impossible without the diversity of pollinating animals. First of all, कहीं भी इंडिया की बात हो रही है क्या यहाँ पर? Just tell me this. Are we talking something in relation specific to India या फिर in general बात हो रही है? Yes, anybody? I cannot see anything like that जहाँ पर ये मुझे लग रहा हो कि specifically India related बात हो रही है. Sustainable production of India's cereal food grains is impossible without the diversity of pollinating animals. Impossible, first of all, this one. And nothing like this has been talked about in context of India specific. No. अगर ये ऑथर का assumption होता कि इंडिया में cereal food grains का production impossible है without the diversity of pollinating animals, so he would have given some indications. या तो वो कुछ suggestions दे रहे होते अपने passage में, या तो वो उस problem का क्या consequence होगा वो बता रहे होते. But nothing like this has been talked about in context of India, right? Let's go to first statement. अगर मैं हटा देती हूँ तो I can eliminate option number A. ऑप्शन नंबर सी को हटाने के लिए एक बार मैं ऑप्शन नंबर 2 पे जाके देख लेती हूँ. ठीक है. Monoculture of horticultural crops, they hampers the survival of insects. Let's see. Have we got anything like that? Monoculture of horticultural crops, they hampers the survival of insects. इन्होंने बात की कि 80% of flowering plants animals pollinate करते हैं, but main pollinators insects हैं. Pollination क्या होता है? Wide variety of food के लिए important है. Medicines are talked about. Then 1/3 of the world's agricultural crops, etc. Right? They depend upon pollination. That is also being talked about. Now, bees most dominant hai, crucial hai, more than 400. But nothing like this has been said that monoculture of horticulture crops. Yes, I do agree that he has talked about diversity. Effective pollination requires resources such as refuge of pristine natural vegetation. Okay, he has talked about this thing. Bees are the most dominant taxa when it comes to pollination, and they're crucial to more than 400 crops. Right, but anywhere has it been mentioned like that? The monoculture of horticulture crops say monoculture. It hampers the survival of insects. No, this has not been given in the passage. You can ignore option number 2. With this, option number B भी आपका हट जाएगा. The correct answer is D, yes. And some of you have given the correct answer. Right, well done. Others also, it was a great try, right? Now come to option number 3 and 4. हम देख लेते हैं. Pollinators, they become scarce in cultivated areas devoid of natural vegetation. Here, read the last statement, please. इफेक्टिव पॉलिनेशन, इफेक्टिव, ठीक है, यहाँ पर क्या लिखा है, पॉलिनेशन, पॉलिनेटर्स स्कार्स हो जाएंगे, खत्म हो जाएंगे नहीं लिखा हुआ है, स्कार्स हो जाएंगे लिखा है, यहाँ पर लिखा है इफेक्टिव, कीवर्ड्स डायरेक्टली रिफ्लेक्ट हो रहे हैं, ओके, स्कार्सिटी अगर होगी तो इफेक्टिव नहीं होगी वो चीज। इफेक्टिव पॉलिनेशन दे रिक्वायर रिसोर्सेज जैसे कि pristine natural vegetation, so we can say that in cultivated areas devoid of natural vegetation, okay. Then diversity in insects induces diversity of plants, right? We have talked about this. For example, bees are the most dominant taxa when it comes to pollination, and they're crucial to more than 400 crops. So if we have the diversity in insects, they induce the diversity of plants. Because यहाँ पर directly लिखा हुआ है that it's an essential service that is the result of intricate relationship between plants and animals. Okay, and reduction or loss of either affects the survival of both. So directly we can correlate these two statements. Statement number 3 and 4. Right? The answer is D. Okay, I hope you got an idea about it. Right? थोड़ा सा tough है assumption के कुछ questions. Right? I'm picking up the little tricky ones ताकि आपकी practice हो जाए. Now, yes, this is going to be the last question of this session. Question number 11. This is the passage. This is the last question, so let's solve it. Okay, so these are the options. We've got some answers. Okay. Okay, I've got two kinds of answers, option as B as well as D. Interesting. Okay, the correct answer is D. Okay. Yes. Okay, Sandeep, you're right. The correct answer is D. Right, let's see how it's correct. Okay, let's go statement by statement. Okay. The purpose is to understand, okay, correct, incorrect hona, it's just a matter of practice. Okay, let's understand. Now, on the basis of the passage given above, the following assumptions have been made. Okay, fig trees can often be keystone species in natural forest. Right? पहले तो हम ऑप्शन बी में जो मोस्टली लोगों ने टिक किए हैं वो हम देखते हैं, थर्ड ओनली, राइट? Sacred trees, they can have a role in biodiversity conservation. बोल सकते हैं हम, right? For instance, fig trees की बात हो रही है, they are considered sacred and they're also having a role in biodiversity conservation. Okay, they provide food for wildlife, etc. Other resources of scarce हो जा रही है, high density diversity of frugivores, right? So yes, the statement is right. A very moderate statement, ठीक है? They can have a role, we can write it. So अगर हम ऑप्शन बी में भी जाते हैं तो ठीक है, थर्ड स्टेटमेंट इज राइट. नाउ एक बार हमें बाकी ऑप्शंस को भी एक्सप्लोर करना चाहिए बिफोर टिकिंग द फाइनल आंसर. नाउ fig trees can grow where other large woody species they cannot grow. यहाँ पर क्या लिखा हुआ है? They are found in India, East Africa, etc., and they're common in agricultural and urban landscapes where other large trees are absent.
मैम
Okay.
वुडी स्पीसीज का मेंशन नहीं है ना इसमें.
Yes, it's not mentioned that fig trees they can grow where other large species they cannot grow. Suitability conditions के बारे में बात नहीं हो रही है यहाँ पर. Okay, they are saying that where the trees are generally absent, right? So we can ignore this. See, एक एक कीवर्ड से आपका जो स्टेटमेंट है वो सही है गलत हो सकता है. We're talking about the suitability over here, but ये information हमें पैसेज में नहीं है. They're generally talking about a pattern कि where the factories are generally observed. Okay, where other large woody species, as Yogita said, not talked about in the passage, right? So if you eliminate this, we are done with this too. Again हमारे पास B और D है. Let's go to option number 3 and option number 4. Fig trees, option number 4 says, the statement 4 is saying that fig trees, they have a role in the seed dispersal of other tree species. They have a role. कैसे role है? Because if frugivorous birds and bats, they continue to visit fig trees located in sites with high human disturbance. See, basically ये part important नहीं है. ठीक है, if they continue to visit fig trees, this may promote frugivorous abundance, and because ये frugivores जो होंगे, plenty of seedlings, ठीक है, other tree species जो होंगी, they would grow around fig trees. तो in fact ये जो second statement है ना, ये वैसे भी गलत हो जाएगा. Fig trees they can grow where other large species cannot grow. Actually fig trees की वजह से other tree species can also grow, right? So they have a role in the seed dispersal of other tree species through the fact that they're able to provide food for the frugivorous birds and the bats, right? That is why the answer is D for this question. Okay, and they can often be a keystone species in natural forest because they're saying that in natural forest, fig trees, they provide food for wildlife, okay, when the other resources are scarce. Keystone species, when the other resources are scarce, they will be able to support a high density and diversity. Okay, जब conditions scarce होंगी, extreme होंगी, they would be acting like a keystone. Okay, an anchor you can say. So yes, the answer because of these things is option D, 1, 3, and 4. Okay, so with this we come to the end of our reading comprehension at least series. Okay, so we have gone through the keywords of the passage, तो जो keywords possible पूछते हैं, right? Now my suggestion is अगर आपको कोई focus करना है 2-3 keywords पे, तो focus on the keyword of assumption and crux and crucial message and inference. Majority of questions in तीनों keywords से होते हैं. First चीज. Second is you should be remembering कि आपकी approach क्या होनी चाहिए solve करने के लिए. I would not suggest you to look at the options. ये मुझे किसी ने first session में पूछा था कि मुझे options देखने चाहिए क्या. I would not suggest it. ठीक है. अभी आपने देखा होगा अभी जितने भी हमने क्वेश्चन सॉल्व किए इस पूरे 6 सेशंस में कहीं भी हमने ऑप्शंस पहले देख के पैसेज को नहीं देखा है. हमने हमेशा पैसेज देखा फिर ऑप्शंस पे हम गए, राइट? इस अप्रोच का फायदा ये होता है कि आप पैसेज को ध्यान से समझते हो, राइट? अदरवाइज अगर आप पहले ऑप्शंस देख के फिर पैसेज को देखोगे देन यू आर मोस्टली अबाउट कि जो जो ऑप्शंस मैंने देखे वो बस मुझे कोई एविडेंस मिल जाए, देन यू लूज आउट द क्रक्स ऑफ द पैसेज. ठीक है. एंड पैसेज क्वेश्चंस सीसैट में जो पेपर में आते हैं दे लिटिल टफ बिकॉज दे वांट यू टू अंडरस्टैंड द क्रक्स ऑफ थिंग्स. सो द सेकंड सजेशन वुड बी कि पैसेज को पहले पढ़ना है एंड देन क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करना है. एंड क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने के लिए हर एक स्टेटमेंट को देखना है नो मैटर हाउ स्ट्रांगली यू फील अबाउट एनी स्टेटमेंट. ठीक है. एंड अप्रोच आपकी एलिमिनेशन यूज करेंगे एक्सेप्ट फॉर द कीवर्ड ऑफ टोन. टोन कीवर्ड में आप एलिमिनेशन अप्रोच नहीं यूज करेंगे. ओके. एलिमिनेशन अप्रोच बाकी सारे कीवर्ड्स में यू विल यूज इट एंड देन उसके बाद you will be coming at the arriving at the final answer, right? Now, my suggestion and my request to you, everyone, would be कि ये sessions revise करना है आपको, complete करना है, and 2015 से लेके focus करना है 2020, 21 तक मैंने करवा ही दिए, 21, 20, 23 mostly we have done, but 2015 से लेके 2020 तक आपको question solve करने हैं in the coming week, right? And after that, we'll have a session 2024 के questions हम solve करेंगे, right? So if anybody is having any doubt, right, we can have a session after a week and हम उसमें आपके doubts discuss कर सकते हैं. But before that, I want you to revise these things. I want you to solve these questions. Then you will be coming up with more relevant doubts. Okay. So with this, I end the session. Thank you all for being so patient. Okay. Thank you for supporting the series. I hope everyone has got something out of the series. So try to implement that in your readings. Okay. Yes. Yogita, do you want to say something? Okay. So try to implement this, okay, in your routine. Yes, Yogita, I'll be telling that in the UPSC mentorship. The UPSC mentorship channel is there, right? There you can connect with me. Okay. Yes. So we'll be meeting next to next week. Don't worry, right? Till then, practice a lot because RC is going to be a savior अगर मैथ्स के क्वेश्चंस नहीं समझ में आ रहे होंगे. Because इंग्लिश ऐसी नहीं होगी कि समझ नहीं आए आपको. ठीक है, मैथ्स में कभी कभी होता है कि कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, नहीं बन रहा है. ठीक है, बट इंग्लिश इज डूएबल. रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन डूएबल है. ओनली थिंग इज यू प्रैक्टिस. ठीक है, कलेक्ट योर डाउट्स. इन द नेक्स्ट टू नेक्स्ट वीक विल हैव अ सेशन जहां मैं आपके डाउट्स क्लैरिफाई करूँ. And we also have the 2024 paper. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being so patient. Thank you.